We started short-term rental investing back in 2017, and within a couple years, we got to a point of financial freedom where we were bringing in enough from the vacation rentals to pay for our monthly expenses. And so we're both able to leave our full-time jobs. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how we got started and grew the company over the next couple years. This is what you pictured financial freedom to look like, right? Hanging out on a farm, collecting chicken eggs, prepping for our next guest to check into our short-term rental there in the barn. What I've realized over the last couple of years is that financial freedom looks different to everyone. And so for our journey, it started very humbly with our basement being converted into a one-bedroom apartment. So back in 2017, we bought a house that needed to be fully gut rehabbed. It was in pretty rough shape, all original shag carpet and wood paneling, originally from 1975. And so we bought the house and we gutted it, but we realized that there's this unfinished walkout basement that really was serving no purpose for us. And so I talked to my wife and I said, you know, I keep hearing about this Airbnb thing and how people are making a whole bunch of money. Let's just try it. Let's just put $30,000 into the basement and turn it into a one-bedroom apartment and see how it goes. You know, the worst case scenario, we probably add $30,000 worth of equity to the house by doing this. And so that's what we did. So our contractor tried to talk us out of it. You know, some friends and family tried to talk us out of it, saying, do you really want strangers coming to your house? And we said, screw it, we're gonna try it. And so we did it, and we finished the rehab just before Memorial Day that year. And we started renting it out, and we put it on Airbnb, and all of a sudden started getting booking after booking after booking. And we booked up every single day over that first summer. And we made right around $22,000 that first summer. And at the time I owned some long-term rentals. And so I was like, some of my long-term rentals don't make $22,000 in an entire year. And we just made it on this dinky one-bedroom apartment that's in our basement, you know, and it has like one window. So I was like, there's got to be something to this. If we can scale this, it makes a lot of sense. Now, initially we did everything ourselves on that little basement apartment. After we got it set up, we furnished it ourselves, and then my wife would clean it with our one-year-old attached to her side in between guests. I was still working full-time at the time, so, you know, I'd respond to guests in between meetings at work, and we just figured it out as we went, and it worked. We realized in retrospect, we could have made a lot more money because we knew nothing about pricing at the time. And so we way underpriced it in the beginning, but it worked. And so then we decided to scale into our next property. And so I started looking around at what areas might work well. And I realized that in some affordable areas, the price points on Airbnb still made a lot of sense. So we're in the Midwest, Indiana. It's not like the mecca of vacation rentals here, but it's still desirable. And there's still some drive to destinations that have some, you know, regional draw. So I found this area called Michigan City, Indiana, that's a pretty affordable area. And we bought our first house. And the idea behind it was we're gonna buy a house that makes a whole lot of sense as a long-term rental first. And we're gonna try it out as a short-term rental. And then if everything falls apart and none of the comps that we're seeing on Airbnb actually work like our property doesn't work like those comps, and it's a failure, then we can just convert it back to a long-term rental. We'll sell off the furnishings and we'll be no worse for the wear. So again, that's what we did to just test it out. And the first one worked phenomenally well. And we decided, all right, now we're off to the races. Now we're gonna scale from here. So we sat down and we said, okay, if this one is making $1,000 to $1,500 net per month, and it's no special house, it's just like your typical 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch, if we can just replicate this 8 times, then I'll feel more than comfortable leaving my full-time job. You know, we'll have more than enough net income to live off of. And so that's what we did over the next year and a half or so. We started buying properties. Most of them were rehabs. We'd buy them, we'd fix them up, we'd do the whole BRRRR model on it, and then we'd rent them out on Airbnb, and they would net. We initially saw that these 3-bedroom, 1-bath properties made $1,000 to $1,500. But then we found that if we bought larger properties, 4, 5, 6 bedroom properties, or duplexes to quadplexes, the numbers were even better. We financed the properties using DSCR loans, which stands for debt service coverage ratio. That's just a fancy term for investment loans that are not based on your W-2 income. So the lenders would just look at the performance of the properties and make sure they work. They were actually looking at it from a long-term rental perspective. Even though we're going to use them as a short-term rental, they wanted to make sure as a backup plan, they would work as a long-term rental, and all of them did. So we would get a DSCR loan for 75% of the purchase price, and then we'd raise private money for the rest of the investment that we needed, and we could just replicate the process over and over again. So we got to the 8 vacation rentals, and I pulled the trigger on leaving my full-time job, which still felt like a big step, even though in retrospect afterwards I was like, man, I could have left a lot earlier probably, because what I didn't realize is how much time and capacity that was going to free up. Because now all of a sudden I had an extra 40 hours a week that I wasn't going to work. And so then we could continue to buy more properties. So since then we've bought 21 vacation rental listings total. We have a duplex and a triplex that's under contract or under rehab right now. And we'll get that rehabbed, and then we'll refinance that back into a DSCR loan like the others. So now I spend a lot of time helping others do the same. I have a program where I walk people who are working full-time through the process of finding, buying, and setting up their first high cash flowing vacation rental as efficiently as possible. And it's been super rewarding to see people's, literally their lives change as a result of buying these properties. If it sounds like that program might make sense for you, you can book a call with me and we can talk through your goals and see if it aligns with your goals and if I can actually help you. And you can set that up at livingoffrentals.com/call. That's a link right to my calendar. I'll put that link in the show notes or description below, and you can feel free to click on it, book a call. We'll talk through your goals and see if it's a good fit. If you like this video, hit that like button. Also hit subscribe so you can see future videos that I release on this channel on a weekly basis.